Rita Sanchez, and joining me is Ryan McCaffrey. Both of us have played 4 hours of Cyberpunk, which is surprisingly a lot, but also not a whole lot considering how much we actually got to see. This game is going to be huge. But we want to sit down and talk about character customization, which maybe not as in-depth as you think, but the upgrades go really far. So just a quick note before we get started, we will be talking about genitalia. So if that is something you do not want to hear about, maybe this isn't the video for you. But if you're actually interested in all the character customization you'll get and to see how that actually plays out, stick around. So, Ryan, what do you think about the character customization?
There is a lot to it. I mean, it's I actually ended up purposefully, even though I wanted to keep playing with the customization, I ended up moving on because I knew, again, you mentioned at the top, we had a hard limit of 4 hours to play this game before our access would be revoked. So I was like, I got to get into the game world, but you just keep scrolling down and there's just all sorts of options, both, just all kinds of cosmetic stuff, the usual face, hair, skin tone, etc. But then it gets into some other interesting areas as well. You can go with no genitalia. You can choose a penis. You can choose a vagina. There are multiple penis varieties. So yeah, however you want to represent, it's there for you. But then it goes well past that too. There really is a lot in it.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that it doesn't do more of like a slider-based thing, and it's more about preset options. So you have like options 1 through 12 for like face shapes or like for your eye shape or something. So it goes more like that rather than it does like The Sims, you're pulling and pushing your cheeks in or out.
Right.
So it's not that detailed in that way, but there are a lot of options. For instance, like you have piercings, but then you can also change the piercing color. There are so many options for your pupils. I had heart pupils, so I could do like the little anime eyes, and so there was a lot for that. Also, I think if you guys are concerned about like how you could do like as like building your character as a person, when you first jump in, I forget how it is presented, but you choose essentially like a feminine or a masculine body, then you can change the voices between the 1 or 2 of the feminine or masculine voice option. And then from there, you're not really limited again, like on your genitalia, you can choose like whatever matches for you. You can also have nipple options. At least for the female option, I don't really know how
it was there. Yeah, it was on both sides.
So both sides, you can have no nipples if you don't want them. So I guess they're kind of like pushing more into the like pushing the limits of like how a person is built in the future, which is so much about this game, right? Like that is so much what this is, and we're about to get that soon when we talk about the upgrades. So there were a lot of options there as far as that goes. Like you, Ryan, I did not spend too much time in the character creator because I did need to like move on as much as I wanted to probably sit there, even with like just having preset options. Could have sit there for way too long. I love playing with The Sims and like other games like that, where you just like sit and like make the perfect character, however cute or whatever you want them to look like. So there are a lot of options there, which I think is going to be good. I'm curious to see what everyone makes with their characters, for sure.
And that's just the character creator. You, as the leader of IGN's Wikis and Guides team, had a much bigger nightmare, which will be, in turn, a bounty of awesomeness for our audience when they get the game. You had a much bigger nightmare in store for you when you got into the game, because there are a ton of upgrades, as well as just weapons and clothes and gear, all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of different stats, because if you guys don't remember, Cyberpunk is an RPG. It is very truly an RPG. There's so many stats to build on. So like we already know, obviously, that you have their clothes stats. You have 5 different kinds of stats to put your points into at the very beginning that kind of implements what kind of character you are, whether they're really smart, if they're tech savvy, if they're cool, which is literally a stat.
Literally a stat.
Yeah,
I put a lot of points into cool, because cool was, I can't remember if it was for stealth or hacking, but it was one of those 2 categories that I was very interested in. So I'm much cooler in Cyberpunk than I am in real life, obviously.
Yeah, I think it lends itself to more of like the stealth, but also critical hits. So like I really like doing critical damage. I was trying to build also like a speedier, faster moving, just run at them, hit them, take them out kind of character.
Yeah.
And so that's how you start building at the beginning. Like obviously your body points kind of lend to whether or not you can carry a lot of weight or like what that is. And your intellect obviously is also for how you approach technology. Like you can hack into cars and steal them, but you have to be smart enough to be able to do that, right? So there's that layer of points that you're also setting up when you first get into the game. However, stay with me. We're gonna keep on these points.
Yes.
When you level up, you can level up, I think, you get a point toward one of those 5 but then you also get an additional point to click into one of those 5 to get specific perk upgrades for that category. So there's that level too. I don't know exactly which levels give you the points because I'm not too sure if it was every level. I think I only leveled up twice. But I
was level 6 by the time I got through. Okay. I know you had done so much exploration. I think you were level 3. So like I did end up, I believe it is a match. Like this, you get the same number of skill points and perk points each time you level up. I think. Don't specifically quote me on that, but I believe that's how it went.
Yeah, so you'll be leveling up that as you go. But that's not all that you're upgrading. You're upgrading your body because, this is Cyberpunk, right? And what would it be without body mods? So we saw in the demo that they put previously and also in the Night City Wire stream that they have the Rip Doctors, right?
The Ripper Doc, yes. Yeah,
so you're going to go to the Ripper Docs and get these, like, crazy upgrades. So I wrote down a few of them so we could kind of keep track of them. This is not all of them that you get. Apparently, different doctors specialize in different things. So the first one you visit, there are so many things. I liked it because it showed you a range of like the common upgrades to legendary, and that's like the scale of them. It was a little weird because it's not like they were hard to find. I guess it's just like their ranking system for as good as they are, which is I think a little bit of a weird way to label them, rather than just making them very expensive, which I think is still proves the same point. Anyway, you can upgrade. At least this is what I wrote down. I think you can do more. You can definitely do more. I didn't get to write down all of them. But they have the operating system. They have immune system upgrades. They have nervous system, excuse me. Arms. And then they have your skeleton upgrades. You have so many things. So I'm going to tell you one of the skeleton upgrades. So there's one called Dense Marrow. That was a rare upgrade. You have to have at least 14 street cred. So you have to have something in addition to money and 12,000 credits. And then that specific upgrade, increases stamina cost of melee attacks by 20%, but increases base damage of melee weapons by 15%. So I like that there's a cost to some of these. So it's like, oh, your stamina cost is like way higher if you're doing this, but you're hitting harder. So if you want to build for somebody who just like hits really hard, you could probably put a lot of points into like upgrading what your stamina costs are otherwise and like negate that that cost increased if you can. And so like I think there's just so many pieces to play as far as like how you're building this character that are going to go in like really interesting ways. And there's no one right way to build a character either as far as we've seen. And I think CD Projekt Red has been very explicit in saying we will have a path for you depending on how you want to play. If you want to play as like the big strong tank with the big hits hard, you can do that. If you want to be a netrunner, you can do that. If you want to be like super stealth, just hacking into stuff, being really quiet, you can do that. I don't feel like either of us really got to see that play out super well, but also like this is the prologue. Like you just don't have a lot yet, even though we did get to see something.
I wanted to make a netrunner ninja, basically just like I want to get a katana, which I didn't find in the first 4 hours, as like my main weapon, and just quietly, stealthily, sneakily kill when I have to, but mostly just sneak around. And a couple of the perk points I got, I put into. One of the perks is for unlocking all the doors in a vicinity. So you can just be able to get around and do maybe bypass some enemies or circumvent some danger that way. And then another one was for disabling. I believe it was for disabling all the cameras in an area as well. So you can basically just be this sort of Deus Ex Machina walking through. And the doors open and the cameras go down, so you are not spotted and thus do not have to engage in combat quite as often. Yeah,
so many things that you can tweak and modify and build. I also want to give you guys a quick example of a legendary upgrade because there were a few of those that I got to see. One of those being a pain editor, which is an immune system upgrade. You have to have 45 street cred and cost 32,000 credits. And it reduced all incoming damage by 10%. So a nice little upgrade, which was, I don't know, like reducing damage is pretty important. But
I like passive upgrades myself. I like upgrades that I don't have to do anything. It's just like I'm just better.
Yeah, there's an arms one that's a common upgrade. It's called the projectile launch system that you have to have 45 street cred. It gives you explosive rounds. So it says a missile launcher in the palm of your hands, more or less literally. But that also has a weight thing. So like you get some weight added if you get that upgrade. So I do like how that's also something to keep in mind. But there's so much to Cyberpunk, we can't possibly discuss it all here. So for more on Cyberpunk, please keep with IGN.
We're happy to present IGN's Summer of Gaming, featuring the latest and greatest in game reveals, news, trailers, next-gen coverage, and more. Our month-long event features our first ever series of IGN Expos, where you'll get first looks at world premiere game trailers, exclusive game demos, and interviews you won't find anywhere else. IGN's Summer of Gaming, only on IGN and IGN One on Samsung TV Plus.